Hey everyone, this is Friedel Hacker AJ Raven, and I'm back with my recap and review of Harlots, season number 3, episode number 1. And if you guys aren't watching Harlots, it's on Hulu. It's currently in its third season, and it's an amazing, amazing, amazing show. So I do recommend that you watch it. Anyway, coming back to the episode, surprisingly, it opens with a 1 year later time jump. I wasn't expecting a time jump, but here we are. So it opens with this new house. We don't know who lives here. This is just some new person, and she's running, and she ends up telling this guy something in his ear. She's whispering it, and it turns out that when they walk to the stable, they see this young girl doing it with the stable boy, I guess. And we don't know who these characters are. So the episode continues with Charlotte, and she's at Lady Isabella's house, and they are talking about stuff. Now, I'm not really sure if they're at Lady Isabel. Yeah, I think they are. Okay, yeah. They're at Lady Isabella's house, and Isabel's house, and they are talking about how Isabel wants other rich women to kind of give charity to all of the harlots. But yeah, Charlotte isn't able to make her case, especially because most of the women don't want anything to do with it. So she gets up, she walks away. Yeah, none of the women are interested. So she walks away, and Isabella is like, we'll get to them sooner or later, you just wait. So as far as Lucy is concerned, Lucy is making two men like go through these little tasks in order to win her. Basically, Lucy has been doing well. That's the point. So now Alfie Allen, who's from Game of Thrones, and ends up being a new character that's introduced. I think his name is Pincher or Pincer. I'm not really sure, but I think it's Pincher. I might be wrong. Who knows? Again, it's a new character. It's going to take me time to remember his actual name. So Pincher goes and he comes to Charlotte's house, and he has money and all of that stuff, and Nancy is on guard duty. So as far as Emily is concerned, Emily seems to be doing well for herself as well. She's hooking up with this guy who I guess was in the army or something. Again, new characters. I don't really care. I'm going to need time to remember what they're up to. So Charlotte and Lucy end up meeting each other on the street, and yeah, Charlotte is actually impressed that Lucy is making two men fight over her. Like Lucy even made one of the guys lick another guy's bald head, which was weird. So Charlotte goes to the house, and she notices that Pincher and his boys are here, and Pincher immediately puts on the charm. He's flirting with Charlotte, and it works. Apparently, he's a poet, and it works. So as far as Miss Quigley is concerned, Lydia Quigley is concerned, she's still at Bedlam, and she is being experimented on now. Even though I don't like Lydia as a character, I still felt for her, especially after all of the torture in the name of so-called science she had to go through. It was torture. So and turns out that Charles has been coming to visit her, but he hasn't been actually talking to or interacting with his mother. So yeah, Lucy has been hiding from the man that's after her, and she goes to this pub, and this new character is introduced, and he says that he won't offer Lucy any drink or whatnot because apparently he runs the pub. And Emily comes in, and Emily is like, don't you know who she is? It's Lucy Wells. You need to offer her a drink and all of that stuff. So apparently Emily and this guy are a thing. So Lucy's person comes in, and Lucy finally decides to go and do it with him. So Charlotte ends up doing it with Pincher, and she's happy about it. But then Pincher ends up talking about this weird things that he's doing business-wise, and he gives Charlotte a list. And it turns out that he's a pimp, and he wants to take over the area over Greek Street, and he wants Charlotte and her girls to give him a portion of their profits. And of course, Charlotte isn't having any of that. She's understandably mad at him. However, she can't do much because, yeah, I keep wanting to call him Alfie Allen, but yeah, Pincher threatens Charlotte, and Charlotte agrees. But you know, Charlotte, she doesn't back down easily. She's going to fight. So it turns out that Charles is in debt because he apparently ended up gambling all of the money away, and he has now lost Golden Square. So the debt collectors are here. one of the girls that worked for Charles is still there, and Charles tells her to just leave and run away because that's exactly what Charles does. So Lydia Quigley is just trying to make sense of her life in Bedlam, and there's this ruckus. And the new character, it was the girl we saw in the beginning of the episode, ends up being thrown into Bedlam as well. And Lydia tries to talk to her, but the new girl is like, "Stay away from me, horror creature." So over at Isabella's house, Isabella's daughter isn't happy that she wasn't invited at the meeting, and she wants to know what her mom was up to. And Isabella's like, "It was a failed experiment. There's nothing you have to worry about." And apparently, Isabella's daughter has this thing for her servant, which, yeah, I guess predictable. So Charlotte, like I said, she isn't happy about Pincher like trying to rule them, and she's like, "We need to stand up. We need to fight." So Pincher tells his brother, again, new characters, I don't know what his name is, but he tells his brother what he did about Charlotte Wells, and he's happy about it. So yeah, we go to the scene. Again, we go to the board who used to train, who was it? She used to train Charlotte's mom, right? If I'm not wrong. But anyway, we did see her back in season 2. Anyway, again, more new characters. This is Harvey, Miss Harvey, and this is her son Fredo. And Miss Harvey runs a Molly house, and she came to this character's house for a loan, and she's the one who tells Harvey about Golden Square being up for auction. So yeah, Molly house, more queer representation in this show, which was quite surprising. I wasn't expecting any, but yeah. Anyway, talking about queer representation, where's Mrs. Scamwell's daughter? I have no idea. So yeah, the new girl who's quite pretty, she is she has this little conversation with Lydia. So Pincher's brother tells Emily about Charlotte Wells and all of that stuff, and Emily is like, your brother is going after Charlotte Wells. You need to be careful because Charlotte Wells, she's a feisty little thing. So there's this dinner for the gentry, and Isabella comes in with her daughter, and she hasn't told anyone that it's her daughter who's along with her. But anyway, there are rumors in the newspaper about how she had a daughter with the servant and all of that stuff. So this person, I think his name is Mr. Lansome, Lord Lansome, and this is his wife. And Lord Lansome tells Isabella to just leave, and that because he's always thinking about his own wife's moral compass or whatnot. So Isabella, of course, she has to leave, and she's actually quite angry about the rumors in the newspaper. So checking in with Harriet, her house seems to be going well, and she has all of these darker skinned women and all of that stuff because that's her specialty. And she's trying to up her game by putting on these little showcases or showpieces. So Isabella's daughter asks Isabella about the rumors, and Isabella's daughter is like, "Mom, if you did end up having me with a servant, I won't judge you." What she doesn't tell her mother is that she has a thing about with her servant as well. So anyway, Charlotte, being angry, she decides to do something about Pincher, and she takes her Harlots and she walks out of the house. And while she's out, Lucy comes in for a visit, and Nancy is there with Franny's daughter, and these two have a conversation. Apparently, Lucy wants to run her own house, and Nancy is like, "You'll be a great board." So so what Charlotte does is that she ends up having Pincher arrested. Again, we saw this person in the previous seasons. He works for the police and all of that stuff. So Pincher is arrested. Again, Elsie Ellen, I keep wanting to call him Elsie. So Charles is in a bind. He is in debt. He might end up going to prison, and he comes to Lucy and Charlotte for some help. And he wants Charlotte to start a business with him to save Golden Square and all of that stuff. And Charlotte's like, "I don't have any money," and Lucy is like, "I don't have any money either." So the new girl is being given a cold bath, again in the name of science and all of this stuff. Like watching these scenes that were featured in Bedlam, like, oh, the way women were treated in the past and how some of them are continue to being treated in the present world, it's just unfortunate. Just because men are in power and all of that stuff. So Lord Lansome is the one who Harriet was getting ready for, and he selects her girls, even though he does throw a racial slur at her. So after the cold bath, of course, the new girl is shivering, but Lydia gives her her cover, and Lydia tells her that she needs to have a spark inside of her, and whatever happens, that new girl shouldn't let that spark be extinguished. And they also they kind of start to strike a friendship, and Lydia is like, one day you'll be out, you'll be fine, just don't let this place get to you. So Franny is visiting Kitty's grave with her daughter, and this is where she meets Charles, and Charles is like, I'm stuck, I don't know what to do, and all of that stuff. Basically, he's feeling guilty about what he did to his mother. So it's auction day, and Harvey is there with her son, and Lucy is there as well. And these two strike a conversation because Harvey did see Lucy before when she was like playing with those men, and yeah. Anyway, the auction continues, and both of the women don't have enough money individually to beat the men. Lucy has like 200 pounds, while Harvey has like 400 pounds. So these two decide to work together to buy Golden Square for 600 pounds. So Pincher is set out on bail by his brother, and Pincher is like, you know what? That Charlotte's Web. Charlotte is going to pay for this. So he ends up threatening Franny about it, which was like, that's low, Pincher, that's low. So Charles goes to meet his mother again. Again, he just sees her. He doesn't interact with her or whatnot. But Isabella, at the same time, Isabella comes in, and Isabella is like, Lydia, did you speak to the newspapers about me? Are you the one who's spreading rumors about me having a daughter out of wedlock and all of that stuff? And she's like, Lydia, if you did anything, I'm going to make you pay. And Lydia actually laughs at her, and she is like, what are you threatening me with? Aren't you seeing in what conditions I'm living in? You have nothing that you can threaten me with, and all of that stuff. And the actress who's playing Lydia, she has done a phenomenal job in the season 3 premiere. So basically, Isabella wants Lydia to still suffer, and she ends up giving her charity by dressing her up, having her take a bath, and all of that stuff. And when Isabella leaves, Lydia notices that Charles there, but Charles run away, and now Lydia is confused. She's not sure if it's actually Charles or if she's hallucinating about Charles being there. So Miss Harvey ends up telling Lucy that they're going to run a Molly house and all of that stuff, and Lucy is like, you know what? Due to the fact that it pays double, I'm all for it. So Charles goes to meet Emily, and Emily is like, Charles, I don't want anything to do with you. You are the one who threw me out of the house, and I just want you to be gone. So Charlotte, because Pincher's bullies are back at the house, Charlotte's like, you know what? I need to do something else. And Charlotte's like, as long as these guards are outside the house, we won't be doing any business. And she walks out. And Emily is hooking up with that guy that we saw before, and he offers Emily to stay with her for like 20 pounds a week. And Emily is like, you know what, I'll do it for 25 pounds a week, but you also need to teach me the art of trade. And Emily wants to run her individual business and all of that stuff. And I'm like, more power to you, Emily. So while Charlotte's out, Isabella comes in, and Nancy is still there. Nancy is always in the house. So these two talk about what Isabella has been going through. And Nancy is like, you know what? You need to own your daughter. And when you own that, it takes away the power from the people who are against you. And Nancy is like, look at me. I don't have any reputation, and I'm free like a bird or a crow or whatever she says. So Isabella's like, you know what? I'll just give that a try. So over at Isabella's house, again, her daughter is flirting with the waiter or the servant. And turns out that Charlotte has collected all of the harlots from Soho, and she has them stand in front of Pincher. And she's like, Pincher, we aren't going to pay you anything, so you need to back off. And she also makes fun of Pincher. So Pincher and her brother are talking, and Lucy, and Emily is like, you really went after Charlotte's Web. You really went up against Charlotte. What are you thinking? And Pincher is like, you don't get to talk to me, so go away. And Emily is like, you know what? I'm going with my new boo. So see you all later. So Pincher's brother ends up telling Pincher that he needs to fix all of this before it gets out of hand because Charlotte is causing a mutiny against them as far as the girls are concerned. So Lydia is wearing the clothes that Isabella gave her, and she's like striking a conversation with the new girl, and she's like, you know what? I'm going to have you walk out of here, and I used to take gold to keep secrets and all of that stuff. I used to have an awesome life. So while everyone is heading to the bar to drink, Franny notices Charles, and she ends up giving Charles some money to eat. And Miss Harvey ends up going to the old woman who gave her the loan to buy Golden Square, and she's like, I'm now in partnership with Lucy. And the old woman is like, that's the Wells daughter. And do you know the previous Wells daughter ended up sending her board to the crazy house? And Miss Harvey is like, you know what? I think that Lucy can be played very easily, so you don't have anything to worry about. And I'm like, Miss Harvey, Miss Harvey, Miss Harvey. The last thing you should be saying is that Lucy can be played. Those Wells girls, they're quite smart, so look out for yourselves. So Isabella ends up taking Nancy's advice, and she goes to Lord Lansome? Yeah, Lord Lansome. And she's like, Lord Lansome, yes, I have a daughter out of wedlock, and her love means a lot to me, and you can say anything you want about me in the papers. I don't give a damn. And yeah, Lansome is like hitting it off with Harriet. And also before Isabella leaves, she is like, I can notice that you're quite concerned about your wife's moral well-being. And she walks away. So Pincher, in order to get back at Charlotte, ends up throwing, he sets the place on fire, basically. And Nancy is still there with Kitty, the baby. So I guess his action also made Pincher regret what he did. So he notices Charlotte and he tells Charlotte that she should hurry home. Now, I do like these two. There's chemistry there. So hopefully they'll be able to work things out between them. So, but before Charlotte can go home, she meets Lucy, and Lucy proudly tells Charlotte that she is now a part-time owner of a Molly house. And Charlotte is like, just be careful, Lucy, because those things likely end with people being hanged. And Lucy is like, that's the part of the adventure, sister. So yeah, Nancy notices a fire and she's trying to get out, but she can't. She's helpless. And all of the girls are here, and they end up saving Kitty, and they also end up saving Nancy, and everything is burned. Charlotte's house has been burned. So it's interesting to see what Charlotte does next. Will she be working with Pincher, or will she be working with Lucy? Let's see. So Isabella comes home and she notices this letter, and it's a note from her daughter. And yeah, her daughter has ran away with the servant. And I'm like, oh, really? Really? After what Isabella said in front of all of those men about loving her daughter and all of that stuff. But yeah. Anyway, Charles, taking the money that Franny gave her, he sits on a carriage and he's like, just take me far away from London as possible. And over at Bedlam, the new girl tells Lydia that she doesn't want to be a harlot. And Lydia is like, that's your choice. You don't have to be. You just have to continue being hopeful because I'm going to get you out of here. So the episode ends with everything that Charlotte owned and worked for in the previous last year. Everything is burning, and it's a new beginning for Charlotte. It's a new beginning for Lucy. It's a new beginning for everyone, basically. So yeah, it would be interesting to see what happens. Let me know if you are a fan of Harlots. What did you think about the episode? I enjoyed it. Again, it's one of my favorite TV shows on or streaming shows right now. So yeah, let me know what you guys thought down in the comment section below. And until next time, stay happy, stay safe, stay blessed, and I'll see you guys later.